Are people actually reading the books that they are proclaiming that they're reading, or are they just kind of skimming reading them and stating that they finished reading them so that they can complete their reading challenge that they set for their current year? That is what we're going to be discussing today. So, welcome back. If you've seen one of my videos, welcome. If you are new here, my name is Hides or Heidi. This is my channel all around book-related content. And today we are going to be discussing reading challenges. So, go ahead, get comfy as always. Get yourself your drink of choice, your tea, your coffee, your hot cocoa. Again, whatever your beverage of choice is. I have a lovely tea today. I was out at a local little coffee cafe shop earlier and grabbed myself a tea. It's very delicious. And we're going to dive right into this. So, if you've been in the book community for really any amount of time, you've probably heard people talking about reading challenges or reading goals that they set for whatever the particular year is. And I think that there's a lot of great things about reading challenges, and I also think that there's some questionable things about reading challenges. And I wanted to just kind of talk about a little bit of both in the video today. So the first thing that I want to talk about is just some of the positives about reading challenges, because I don't think that having a reading challenge or a reading goal is inherently bad if you are doing the reading what I would view as correctly, which these are my opinions. Take that for what it's worth. You know, you might not agree with me. We'll see. We'll see. So, as always, I got my notes. Girl has ADHD. If I don't have notes, we will be here forever. So, if I look down, that's what I'm looking at. So again, I wanted to first dive into some of the positives of reading challenges or reading goals. And I think that some of the positives is that you are setting a goal for yourself to begin with. And I think that setting goals and setting intentions can be very positive for a lot of people. So I think starting off a year and having a goal that you're trying to reach is a really good thing, and I think that it can help keep you motivated in reading. I think that it can help you, stay focused on like, this is what I'm trying to achieve with this year. So I think that that's a really good positive thing to start your year with, is just setting that intention. And I think that if you're doing like the tracking side of reading goals, so if you're using things like Goodreads, StoryGraph, Fable, all of the other apps, or you can just be doing it in like a reading journal, whatever your vibe is, I think that it's really nice to be able to like look back on your year and say, oh, I really like this book, or I really didn't like this book. And I think that it can help you keep track of what you're liking, what you're disliking. I think that it can kind of help you know what your taste is or how your taste has changed over time with literature. And so I think that that's a really great thing. And I also think that having reading goals or a reading challenge can help you either start the habit of reading or can help you maintain the habit of reading. Because sometimes it's really hard to either start a new goal or a habit, and sometimes it's really hard to maintain it. Life is busy, things get in the way, and life happens. So having a goal or an intention set can kind of help you stay on track and really know, like, this is like the goals that I have to reach. Like, these are like the milestones I have to reach this goal. So I do think that there's quite a few really nice things about reading goals or reading challenges. So we're going to go into some of the negatives that I've personally seen. And I've got some examples that I wanted to kind of go over that I've seen personally just being in the book community as a whole. So one of the things that I've seen is a lot of people don't always put a realistic goal out for the year. So if you're somebody that you've historically read 50 books, you're pretty, you can usually pretty much maintain a year at 50 books, and you go, I'm going to go read 100 books. That's probably not a realistic goal to set for yourself. Maybe you can go, normally I read 50, maybe let's try 55 or even 60, because that's, getting a little bit more of a challenge, challenging yourself, trying to do a little bit more, but literally doubling that is not a realistic thing to do. And I think that by not creating realistic goals and setting a realistic intention can create stress, and it can make reading not fun anymore at that point. And I feel like that can then again turn into pressure. So I think that when people set these goals and intentions and do these challenges, you can feel pressured to be like, oh, I set this, so I have to meet this goal. I have to meet this because I set this. I don't know if you know this. You don't have to always meet goals that you set. And you can also change goals. So let's say you started your year, I started my year with a challenge of 100 books I'm trying to read in 2025. Last year I read 161 books. I feel like I should be able to get through 100 books this year. But if life happens, something happens health-wise, something happens life-wise that it gets in the way, I can change my goal. I can be like, you know what, something has happened, health has happened, something wild is happening in my life. I'm actually gonna maybe knock down to 75 books. So you can change your goals. You don't have to reach them. It's a goal and it's a challenge, but it's not a have to do thing. So that's just one thing to really keep in mind when you're setting goals and challenges. And because I think that some people set these goals and challenges and they're unreal, they're not realistic when they're setting these goals, they always are trying to find ways to reach these goals, and it's making it feel to me like people aren't actually reading the books. So I've seen countless videos on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, basically giving people tips of hey, you want to get through your goal, you're trying to get through books faster, and they give you a list of tips to try to read faster, to get through more books. And one of them that I saw, I wish I could find the video, but I cannot find this video anywhere. And it kind of made me laugh because this girl was on, I think it was a TikTok, and she was basically explaining how she listens to her audiobooks on the 2 times speed, which is very, very fast. It's really hard to listen to everything that is going on in a book and comprehend anything at that speed. And then in the same video, she turned around and was I listen to these books on 2 times speed, but I feel like I don't enjoy the audiobook experience. I don't feel like I can comprehend what I'm listening to. I wonder why we can't comprehend what we're listening to when we're listening to it on 2 times speed. I feel like you answered your own dilemma in the video where you were basically talking about how you weren't enjoying audiobooks because you listened to them on 2 times speed. Am I crazy here? You maybe listen to it on 1.5 times speed. Just slow it down a little bit. Just slow her down a little bit. Maybe you'll be able to comprehend it. Maybe it'll be a better time if you can actually listen and comprehend the words that are coming at you. Call me crazy here. Call me crazy here. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just me. So yeah, and I've also seen a lot of other videos where people have complained about the amount of words on pages in books, which is wild. They're like, there's too many words on the pages. And I'm like, you have a novel in your hand. It's not an anime. It's not a picture book. It's not, a middle grade book. Like, that is an adult novel. Like, there's gonna be a lot of words on the pages because it's a novel. So I'm not really sure how to help you with that problem. And I've also seen a lot of people say that, like, they will skip, like, paragraphs in books. Like, they're just like, oh, well, I only read the dialogue in the book. Like, I don't read, like, the paragraphs. I just skip over to where there's dialogue. Or I'll skip entire chapters. What? You're skipping the paragraphs or you're skipping chapters in the books because it's not dialogue. We do realize, like, a lot of the story happens in the paragraphs. Like, that's where we get details. That's where we get backstory. That's where we get world building. That's where we get, like, the meat. That is where we get the internal monologue. That's where we get all of those details that help you understand the story and move the story along. What do you mean you're not reading that stuff? Like, are you reading? Are we reading? Like, are we reading books? Because I really just feel like some people are just out here not even reading the book. And don't get me wrong. I've read my fair share of books where I'm like, did we need this information? Did we need this? Like, that we could have probably edited this particular chunk of the book out. And don't get me wrong, there are books like that. There are times where I've read books and I was like, we really could have done some editing here. But to specifically, like, skip over chunks to, like, get through the book faster, or because you don't want to read that many words on a page, is a wild concept. Because why are you reading a book? Like, why are you reading a novel if you're not reading the novel? Like, if you're not reading the details and the meat of the story? And how are you getting anything out of, like, a reading experience if you're skipping over huge chunks of the book? Like, that's just, like, wild to me. Like, it's just like wild that, like, people have come online and, like, literally said that. And they're just like, oh, there's no big deal. Like, no, there's no big deal to that. Like, it's fine. And I'm like, how about you just try to read the book? Like, the entirety of the book. How about instead of trying to, like, get to, like, oh, well, I'm trying to, like, read my, like, I'm trying to make my reading challenges. I'm trying to be like, oh, yeah, I read all of these books, da-da-da-da-da. But you didn't really read the book. Like, if you're skipping parts of the book intentionally, you didn't read the book. Like, you read parts of the book. At that point, you should have just gone to SparkNotes and called it a day. Like, that's, you could have literally gone to SparkNotes and got a synopsis and moved on with your day. So I just think it's, like, wild that I feel like people are not even really reading and comprehending the books. And some of it is because, oh, well, I'm trying to, make sure that I hit my goal for the year. Are you really doing yourself a favor by not actually reading and comprehending the book? And then, like, I've also seen, like, close to, like, the end of the year, so, like, around, like, November, December, we really start seeing a lot of, like, stuff where people are like, does anybody have any, like, short stories or novellas or, like, quick reads that they can recommend to me so that I can basically finish my challenge for the year? And I'm like, you don't have to hit the challenge. And if you want to read short stories to, like, hit your challenge, that's fine. But you don't have to. Like, don't force yourself to go out of your way to find something just to meet a number that you set for yourself. Like, it's like reading is a hobby. It should be fun. It should be a good time. And I feel like people trying to like meet this like goal they put on themselves to then like go through all of these like, oh, I gotta find a way to read faster. Oh, I'm just gonna skip chapters. I'm just gonna do this. I'm gonna find like short books. Like, what if you don't even like the short books? Like, you're only reading the short book because you're trying to reach a goal. Like, are you actually going to enjoy the book? I just, like, to read a book just to hit a number seems crazy to me. Like, I just feel like there's too much good literature and there's too many good stories to sit here and just read something to hit, like, a challenge and not actually, like, read it because you want to enjoy it. So I just feel like a lot of people are really taking the enjoyment out of reading and not actually like sitting with the book and enjoying the book and reading experience because they're trying to hit these goals and like prove something to random strangers on the internet. It's not that serious. Like, if you read like one book a year, if you read 200 books a year, all of those like goals are valid. Like, you're still reading, you're still like taking in literature, you're using like your brain and you're comprehending things. Like, it shouldn't matter if you read a book a month or 12 books a month. Like, as long as you're reading, like, that should be the goal. Like, you should be looking for things that you enjoy, and like the reading experience should be fun. Like, it should be a good time. And I just feel like reading goals, from what I've seen online, is taking away from the enjoyment of the reading hobby. And if you're not having fun reading because you're trying to meet these goals or you're trying to hurry through things, is there really even a point of like reading? Like, is there a point of like having that as a hobby if you're not actually really enjoying the experience? Because reading should be fun. Reading should be a good time. Like, reading should be, you know, like you're wanting to learn something, or you just want to have a, you know, world to escape into, or whatever your, you know, reason is for reading. You know, it should be a good time. Like, you should be enjoying it, and it shouldn't be I gotta race to meet this random number that doesn't mean anything. It doesn't really mean anything. It's just a goal to keep you in, like, on track, if nothing else. So I just feel like if you take anything away from this, set a goal for yourself, but be realistic with it. And don't be upset if you don't meet it. Life happens. And enjoy reading. Enjoy the reading experience, because it's supposed to be a good time. Reading is just supposed to be a good time. And I feel like if you're trying to do all of these things to meet these numbers, you're just not having a good experience anymore. So I just wanted to kind of talk about that. I just wanted to remind you, reading goals are great if you don't take them too seriously. So just some thoughts from me. Just wanted to come on here and talk about that a little bit. You know, don't take it too seriously. Have a good time. Reading is supposed to be fun. If you like this content, I will be rolling out some more content in the future. And I hope you come back for another video. Love you guys. Bye.